In the past 6 months, I literally 5x'd my business, and it all comes down to this one thing that I changed that just changed everything for us. It's the one reason that allows us to get paid up to $7,000 per month per client. And it's also like never been easier for us to get new clients, book more calls, close clients, plus they're happier than ever. It's easier to work with them. They stay for longer. You have a lower churn. It's just changed everything inside the business. And I promise when I'm gonna say it, you're gonna be thinking like, oh shit, this is so basic. This is so simple, like whatever. But trust me, stick to the very end of this video and you'll really grasp the full context. You'll see exactly how I did it. And most importantly, you can implement it for yourself. So I wanted to quickly record this video because of some recent learnings and realizations I had that I just had to get out there, especially if you're an agency and you're in the kind of early stages of an agency, maybe you're in more so advanced stages of the agency, maybe you're considering to start a business, I don't care, or you're just following along and supporting me, I guess, on YouTube. Point is, in an agency, you have multiple different ways you can structure your payments and your pricing. And what I do is I have a PIF, which is I charge $6K 3 months. The other option is a pay per results model. And the thing is, everybody's so focused and fixated on, hey, let me charge a retainer $2K a month, pretty basic, pretty normal. Whereas in reality, there's so much more opportunity in the pay per patient option, and like the magnitudes of how much extra opportunity is within that is just crazy. And everybody, like you hear it every once in a while, the best marketers out there, they don't work on a retainer. They work on a even profit share, revenue share, pay per patient or pay per results basis, whatever it is. They work on those kind of payment performance models. And I have a guy friend that I know who's getting paid $35,000 per month of one single client just because it's a performance basis. And that's when I kind of started adding a performance component as like one of the options I offer to my clients when they're on the sales call. The way ours works is like we have a $1,500 setup, and then after that point, it's $300 per patient that actually comes in, which is like, it's disincentivizing. Like that's too expensive for most of the people I speak with, but some prospects, they're just like stubborn in a way where like, yeah, I just had so bad experiences. I want you to prove me wrong. I will go with the pay per patient basis. I just feel more comfortable with it whatsoever because they have to pay less upfront. It's either $6K upfront or $1,500 upfront. And so far, I've always been like pushing them towards the retainer and the PIF and saying like, yeah, this just gets super expensive. I'm also happy to break things up if that does make things easier. It's just a bit of a headache, whatever it is. And I've always been successful, except this one client that joined us about a month ago, a bit more, who was like just super like, yeah, I don't want to pay the retainer, and so like that's just against my principle. I'll not do it whatsoever, even if I'll lose money on the front end. Like I know how the game works, we have to close and blah blah blah, right? But then he ended up joining on the pay per patient. We're like, okay, let's do it. And in the past 30 days, this client has paid me over $7,000 because we're getting him so many patients. And our average client sees around 20 clients to 30 clients per month, depending on how much they spend on ads. I'd say like typical average one, we're aiming to see actually people that show up around 20 patients per month, 15 to 20 actually coming in and doing a treatment. And if you're doing the math, that could mean that somebody's paying us, if they're seeing 20 patients, which is just my niche, I work with med spas, but if they're seeing 20 clients, then they're paying us $6,000, simply said, which is a lot of money if you think about it, because you have the exact same effort and you're just being paid so much more. And the great thing nobody talks about too is like, it's a totally different relationship with the client. Every retainer client that I have, it's a kind of a headache. I'm not going to lie. They are just, it's harder to communicate with them and it's less fun. But with the pay per patient one, there are a couple of benefits to it, which is number one, they are much, much, much more fun to work with and more comfortable to work with. Like I can tell you, it's just so much cooler to work on a pay per patient project because you're hungry, right? You're involved. And I guess also one of the biggest benefits of it is like you have the same authority level. They trust you and like you can actually say stuff. Because with the retainer clients, most of them are like stubborn in a way where they're just like, oh no, this is just the way I've done things and whatsoever. They're not open to suggestions. In some situations, I hate to say it, and sorry if you're a client or if you're a med spa watching this, but my niche, med spas, in a lot of situations, they're just not that good of business owners and they don't always know how to run and scale the business, which is why companies like mine exist, but that's just a harsh reality. Whereas in the performance model, if you have a performance client, which is proper performance, of course, it also has to be profitable for you. Number one, again, get disproportionately paid way more for what you're doing in terms of effort. Number two, it's way more enjoyable to work at a project that, like, again, you're actually part of it, if that makes sense. And then the third thing is you have so much more authority, and they will actually implement and listen to what you propose. So that said, there's so many advantages, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that, oh, every agency has to do performance. I think it's the best way to start out until you like crack service delivery and how to deliver, until you learn the skill sets around it. And I'm not saying that retainers are bad either. Like, retainers can work and are good because it makes sure that you're stable, and at a certain scale, you want to keep like if you're scaling past 100 grand, maybe even 200,000 a month, you want to, and no, I'm still not there yet, but still, you want to keep things as simple as possible, which is why in a lot of situations, those are the agencies that do some sort of retainer. But again, there are other companies, such as I know a friend, who is getting paid 30,000 per month of one single client just because it's a revenue share percentage, which is insane. And of course, like this is a bigger client, like you've got to put way more work into this too and everything, but you can just not even proportionally try to explain the difference between a retainer and a client that's paying you 10, 20, 30,000 a month, not just one time a month. And you're in most situations not doing that much extra work. Of course, you will have extra work, but not so much extra work that is going to justify in this situation 17x more money, if that makes sense. So that said, here's kind of what I recommend for everybody. And still up to that day, I'm still selling PIFs and retainers. But if a client goes with the pay per patient option, I'll let them do their thing because I know it's profitable, super profitable for me. The other thing is, if in my situation, at least, like to a certain degree, like 300 per client is a lot. And in most situations, those clients are coming in for an initial treatment or service for $200, $300, $400, $500. So they're not really making any money there. It's more so they make money if they come back, if they sell a package treatment plan. That's how my industry operates and works. But still, a lot of everybody that does go with the pay per patient option, they are aware of like, hey, this is going to, like, I'm only going to make money if I sell and everything. And I do not want to do this long term just for the first 3 months. So keep that in consideration. It's not like an endless money glitch or whatsoever. But if they go with that option nowadays, I'll lean back and I say, awesome, let's get you rock and rolling. Versus in the past, I know I'm repeating myself, I always pushed them off to the PIF or the retainer option. So my huge recommendation to you is, number one, provide both, because you can always advertise with the performance models, meaning it's a super strong lead magnet. I will say a major contribution, which is why I've been able to scale so fast in the past couple of months, is because I started ads, I have a good offer, I have a pay per patient, pay per client, pay per result offer that I'm shouting through a microphone on my ads. Now I'm staying there, like in all my marketing, like we say, hey, this is a pay per patient thing. And then on the call, like it's still a pay per patient thing. We just provide two different alternatives. And the pay per patient option is the more expensive one for sure, which is why we also have a second option, which is the 6K for 3 months. And I found this to be like, whenever I changed the pricing structure, and I still have some additionals, extras, commissions and whatsoever, but whenever I changed this pricing structure to this, literally that's kind of when things started to blow up for me. And not because of the pay per patient thing, because again, I only until very recently had that first client on that model, but it's changed my paradigm and the way I see marketing. And I also know for a fact that, again, I'm repeating myself, you can just make so much more money on it. And even if, let's say I sign 10 clients and only 3 of them are going to be like super successful and 7 of them are meh, I'm still getting paid so much more by those 3, and the others are still going to be paying me ballpark the same as a 6K PIF. So essentially, you're just delaying gratification. And I think that's something nobody or so few people in this industry can do. Like everybody's like, oh, I want to PIF, I want to collect money up front today, now, which I get the point. But I think if you're able to just at least slightly delay that gratification and you're confident in your service and your results, at least offer that pay per results basis. Again, I've just had it there as a lead magnet. I was not even selling that, but I still had it there as an offer. But now I will start more and more deliberately get people to go for the pay per patient option, because it makes life so much more comfortable, fun, enjoyable, and it helps the business massively. So yeah, just close the client. And that's why I'm recording this video again on this pay per patient option. And that's the big paradigm shift I had. So they just paid us $1,500. Not sure if you were able to see this,
But it's like, it's just a recent realization had that completely changed the way I think about like pricing models. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching, and hope that helped.